Collins Barracks is a former military barracks in the Arbour Hill area of Dublin, Ireland. The buildings are now the National Museum of Ireland, Decorative Arts and History, housing both British Armed Forces and Irish Army garrisons through 3 centuries. The barracks were the oldest continuously occupied example in the world, originally called simply the Barracks, and later the Royal Barracks. The name was changed to Collins Barracks when handed over to the Irish Free State in 1922. Built in 1702, and further extended in the late 18th century and 19th century, the complex's main buildings are neoclassical in style. Since 1997, the barracks have been home to collections of the National Museum of Ireland, and the original structures have seen some award-winning redevelopment and conservation work to support this new role. The museum faces the Lewis Tram Red Line, a memorial garden at Croppy's Acre marking the 1798 rebellion, and the River Liffey, 18th century to 1920s British garrison. Save for the Royal Hospital Kilmainham, the barracks is the earliest public building in Dublin, and was built from 1701 by the then Surveyor General under Queen Anne. Thomas de Burgh. Built on a site originally intended for a mansion of the Duke of Ormond, the complex has several large squares, each open on the south side. The largest square has arcaded colonnades on the east and west sides, and the main buildings are faced with granite. The oldest inhabited barracks in Europe, it was originally known simply as the Barracks and later the Royal Barracks, and a mainstay of British forces on the island for several hundred years. Theobald Wolfe Tone, one of the main leaders of the 1798 rebellion, was held prisoner, court-martialed and convicted of treason at the barracks. Through the 19th century, up to 1,500 troops of various regiments of foot were stationed at the barracks. However, by the 1880s conditions of accommodation were dangerously inadequate, and strongly criticized following an investigation by commissioners of the War Office as levels of disease increased. This included outbreaks of enteric fever which claimed the lives of a number of men, from amongst which were members of the 8th King's Royal Irish Hussars, predecessor to the current regiment, the Queen's Royal Hussars. During the 1916 Easter Rising, the 10th Battalion of the Royal Dublin Fusiliers and other forces were deployed from the Royal Barracks to fight the insurgent Irish Citizen Army, and Irish volunteers who occupied strongly held positions close by on Ashes Island. The Forecourts and the GPO 1920s to 1990s Irish garrison. Under the Anglo-Irish Treaty, the complex was handed over to troops of the Irish Free State in December 1922. It was almost immediately named Collins Barracks after Michael Collins, the first Commander-in-Chief of the Free State, who had been killed that year. The barracks housed forces of the Free State Army through the Irish Civil War and for 70 years was home to units of the Eastern Command of the Irish Defence Forces. The 5th Infantry Battalion marched out of the barracks for the last time in 1997, and made way for the National Museum of Ireland, 1997, to present National Museum of Ireland. As part of demilitarization, the barracks underwent considerable redevelopment, including the conversion and linking of 2 sides of Clark Square with glass-faced structures. This work was awarded the country's premier award for architectural conservation, the Silver Medal for Conservation, by Royal Institute of the Architects of Ireland. Home to the Decorative Arts and History section of the National Museum, the museum also has galleries dedicated to exhibits on military history. However, the main focus of the galleries is on arts, craft and wares, including exhibits on Irish coins and currency, silverware, furniture, folklife and costumes, ceramics, glassware, etc. Included are artifacts such as Etruscan vases, gauntlets worn by King William at Battle of the Boyne, coin, a lifebelt or salvaged from the wreck of the RMS Lusitania, and a pocketbook carried by Wolfe Tone whilst imprisoned in the barracks. Film location. The barracks has featured in a number of film and television productions, notably Michael Collins. The rear of the barracks is often used as a period street setting for productions such as Ripper Street, Penny Dreadful, and the RTE 1916 Rising miniseries Rebellion. Selected bibliography. Short Histories of Irish Barracks by Patrick Dennis O'Donnell in Uncos and Trois, 1969–1973. Wolfe Tone's Provost Prison by Patrick Dennis O'Donnell in The Irish Sword, No. 42, Volume 11, Military History Society of Ireland, Dublin, 1973. Dublin's Collins Barracks Over the Years by Patrick Dennis O'Donnell in Hollybore, December 1994. Dublin Barracks, A Brief History of Collins Barracks by Mairead Dunleavy, National Museum of Ireland, 2002.